Been watching Disney movies?
Disney movies? No, not unless it's the one where they put kinky shit in it.
I don't think those are licensed by Disney, but it sounded like
no, like the old school ones where like the artists would hide like dicks in the clouds.
Like Princess or the
Little Mermaid.
Yeah,
Princess Mermaid.
Princess Mermaid.
That's the one with the black chick. She's black in that one.
Isn't the mermaid a princess too?
Yeah, because she marries a prince. They all marry princes.
Are there any Disney female protagonists that are not princesses?
The more
except
modern
the ones, except the ones that are
the modern ones are.
Okay.
The modern ones are like she's like the badass. She's like a
But then eventually they turn into princesses, right?
In some probably in some way. I'm trying to
cases,
think. What are the modern ones?
I haven't watched a lot of
Moana. It was semi-modern, pretty modern. She's just like some island chick that I don't know makes love to a volcano. Or I forget what happens.
That sounds kind of spicy.
That was a different video.
I actually haven't seen. I don't think I've seen many Disney movies since I want to say around the time Mulan came out.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. I get Disney confused with Pixar.
Yeah.
I don't know. I watched Cars at some point.
Yeah, I think I started. Yeah, it's you get confused because now they're all that like CGI or
and
computer animated.
Yeah.
Right. There's no more like cartoon. No, there's no more
like
cartoon
actual like hand drawn animation.
Yeah. Right. Which I don't know. I kind of miss the cartoon stuff. I guess I'm just old school. But
nothing wrong with that. You can appreciate the skill and hard work that went into making old hand drawn animation.
Yeah.
So how do animation studios? Are there any hand drawn animation studios these days, or is it all
like the Miyazaki films for the Japanese guy?
Okay.
His Miyazaki, like Spirited Away and
that's Studio Ghibli, right?
Studio Ghibli, yeah.
Okay.
Ghibli. Yeah.
Ghibli.
J sound. Even though it's a G,
okay,
it's a soft G.
Studio Ghibli.
I said it wrong for years, and then some weeb corrected me. I was like, well, you are a bigger virgin than I am, so I believe you.
Yeah. Like Akira.
You do collect dolls. Yeah.
Akira.
What's that? Oh, no, I don't know what that is.
That's like the OG granddaddy of like hand-drawn animation, cyberpunk, sci-fi.
I gotta check that one out.
Dude,
never seen
it. How many times have you seen somebody do a crazy motorcycle slide?
Yeah.
In a movie where they come to a stop,
right,
perpendicular to the camera.
Oh yeah.
Like they skid their motorcycle and they stop like this and they're just looking back at the camera like a badass.
Is that from?
That's a
iconic.
Iconic. Okay. That's where it originated.
They started that shit.
Like you recognize that you've seen that so many times. A million times, yeah. That's where it comes from.
Really, that was the first instance of it. That's pretty cool.
Or at least the big one. That maybe has been done before.
I have to imagine a lot of like cool stunts like that probably originated from some sort of like animation work because it's just easier to do infinitely. Right. And then they're like, hey, maybe we could try this. Like someone might die, but I mean, it looks cool.
Batman did one.
Yeah. Power slides.
Yeah.
Tokyo Drift. I'm sure there's a million.
Yeah. No doubt.
I mean, a million. We're on fire today. We're just cracking away.
It's good to be back behind the microphone.
It is, and it does feel nice to be home. I was in Chicago.
How was the weather?
Weather was nice. It was actually perfect.
Really?
It was sunny, but not too hot, not humid.
Ooh.
Maybe a tinge of humidity on maybe one of the days, but it was like warm t-shirt. It was like LA weather, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And Chicago was cool. It was my first time there. The lady took me. Shout out to her. She planned the whole thing. It was awesome. And Chicago is it's like a clean New York. It's like a clean version of New York where
like where there's not trash, like
there's no
out
trash
on all the corners, like bags of trash.
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of like Portland in that way, where it's just very clean. Obviously, we stayed in like the downtown area for the most part, and then like just on the immediate outskirts of it. I'm sure once you get further out, it maybe is a little seedier, which is actually funny because with LA, it's like the closer you get to downtown, the rougher it is.
Mostly, yeah. And then once
the
you get
most
into
part.
the core of downtown, there's so much money that it then cleans up again.
Yeah, but also across the street from like homeless camps.
Right.
It's just insane. LA is insane.
It is a bizarre contradiction.
So I will say that about downtown Chicago. It was just a lot more consistent, you know, going from street to street or whatever, just walking around was cool. I think at nighttime, you're not supposed to walk around too much by yourself.
Yeah, but you did that in Colombia.
I did that in Colombia. Yeah, that was very strange. Very strange. They've cleaned up a lot. Those guys. They really got their shit together, and you know their heads are on their shoulders straight. But Chicago never felt unsafe. You know, we were there on a weekend, so it was always busy.
Was there any mass transit?
Yeah, they have the L.
Okay.
They have the L, which we did not take. We just Ubered everywhere. We stayed very close central downtown. So it's just easier to just take a $10 Uber or something like that. The food is really good. It is a lot. It's a lot to just eat like that constantly. I mean, you got the pizza pies, you got the Italian beef sandwiches, the hot dogs. Oh, the Italian beef.
Wait, is that one show, The Bear? Is that set in Chicago?
Sounds like it might be. I don't know. I don't think I've seen it.
Okay,
I don't know much about
because I
it.
think it's about hot sandwiches. I tried to watch it, and for some reason, it was like too stressful.
I mean, they got the Cubs. They got the Cubs in Chicago Cubs.
Oh, okay.
So maybe there's
So
some
yeah, what
affiliation.
kind of foods did you get into?
So yeah, we had the pizza. We got we're fat asses, so we got a deep dish pizza and a thin crust at this like famous pizza place, and it was awesome. I can't eat deep dish too much. Like maybe one slice, and I'm good. It's so dense. It's so thick and oily.
It's like a culinary assault on your digestive system.
Yeah, it really. I mean, because it's like, would you like some crust with your cheese? And there wasn't even that much sauce. It was mostly just cheese. I mean, and granted, absolutely delicious, but after maybe 6 or 7 bites, I'm moving on to the thin crust.
Yeah.
I pounded the thin crust. They even
Was
had
it
these,
was it thin chewy or thin crispy?
It was chewy crispy.
Oh,
So it was
that's
like-
a rare combo.
It was like chewy on top and then like flaky and crispy on the bottom. The crust-
that's the hat trick right there.
The crust was delicious. It was out of control. I have to say, people are gonna hate me for this. Some people will agree that I do prefer New York style pizza. I just like the more traditional, really, really ultra thin crust.
Okay.
And whereas this crust is almost like semi like a pie crust. And so like that's where you get some of the flakiness, I would imagine.
Okay.
And it's just like it's got a lot more butter in it. And it's a lot more buttery.
It's following the very rich foods theme.
Yes, right.
Okay.
And so I could see why some people would prefer that. But I think for me, if I'm just pounding pizza, a bunch of slices, I got to go New York. It was still phenomenal. And then we had the Italian beef, incredible, absolutely incredible. I could have eaten 3 of those.
So that's a sandwich with
Sandwich with like just really thin slices of beef all up in it.
okay,
And then loaded with like peppers and some like diced celery and just oil.
Nice.
and just oil.
Hot or it's hot?
It's hot.
Okay.
Yeah. Temperature wise.
Yeah.
But not too spicy. A little kick with the peppers and stuff, but not too bad.
Okay.
That was incredible. We got the hot dogs there, but it was at the place that specializes in the Italian beef. So the hot dogs were nothing special.
They were kind of a little bit of an afterthought.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
They were super tiny. Like I got the hot dog combo, and it came with like 2 pounds of fries and like 3 ounces of hot dog.
Honestly, man, just go to Costco for your hot dogs.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to beat that. I wonder if the Costco's there have like Chicago dogs. They would have to.
I'd be curious to find out, like, if there's any like regional, like, because I know Costco's very standardized in the food that they serve.
True.
But I wonder if they do have like regional exceptions. Like,
If they did, then maybe it'd be like a quarter, 25 cents more for the peppers,
Yeah.
because those things are loaded. The ones the normal ones are great, but it's just basic, and you put the ketchup and mustard or whatever on afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
This has you got the pickle, and the buns have to be like it's like a poppy seed bun,
oh, okay.
and then you got the peppers and tomato. There's tomato in it, mustard, and there's a relish as well. So it's loaded. It's fully loaded. But the hot dogs we had were kind of weak.
Okay, so you got me thinking about flaky pizza crusts.
Yeah.
What if you could get the same kind of dough, like the same kind of consistency as like a croissant.
Ooh.
Like that really, really light, fluffy, buttery kind of
Yeah.
situation for a pizza crust, and then
Ooh.
have like lightweight kind of toppings instead of like heavy pizza toppings.
Oh my God.
Just like some lightweight like
What about like a pizza calzone in a croissant?
ooh yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I would double fist those, dude.
I mean, I'm sorry if this is making you hungry. It's making me hungry.
It's making me hard.
I had that idea for like, croissant pizza crust, and I wanted to make sure I
Yeah.
didn't forget about it. So
Or like a chicken pot pie, but it's just pizza filling. Maybe that's a deep dish pizza. Maybe that's what a deep dish
I don't.
deep dish is.
That doesn't stop me from wanting it.
No, yeah. I say why not? Might as well try. But the food in Chicago was incredible. The architecture there is awesome. We did like a boat tour because there's a river that goes right through downtown and stuff, and that was super sick. I mean, it was like a 90-minute, hour and a half tour, and there's like a lady just saying like, "Oh, this building was, it's neoclassical, and because you can tell the sculptures and whatever." She's just blabbing on. But the buildings are incredible. And then we went right when it was like sundown. So the tour started when the sun was up, ended when the sun was down. So we got like the sunset and everything with like the Chicago skyline. I have to show you pictures. It's ridiculous. It's so pretty. You just get a perfect shot, perfect view.
Sounds awesome.
It was funny. The second tallest building in Chicago is Trump Tower.
That's funny. I can hardly see the T.
I kept calling it the T-Rump building. But it's very impressive. Clearly compensating. But no, I'm joking. Maybe. But architecture was great. You know what else it is? It's cleaner than New York, and the people are a lot friendlier, which isn't saying much. People, they're kind of rough around the edges in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
fast.
My core experience with New York is just Manhattan. So
right.
I think a very limited slice.
It is,
right because New York City has a lot more to offer.
It is, but it's a fair comparison since we only stayed in downtown.
Okay.
So we stayed in like the Manhattan of Chicago, but Chicago is just a much grander city, and the vibes. I sound so Gen Z. Been hanging out with Mel too much. The vibes of New York are just very cool. It's just almost like, and it's a lot more diverse. There is some diversity in Chicago, but a lot of whiteys, not to the point where I felt like, like the needle scratch and the piano player stops playing when Mel and I walk in. But we were like, I was definitely looking around like, you rarely saw like an interracial couple, and when you did, one of them was white. It was a half white. It was a colonization thing going on.
Yeah.
But everyone was friendly. Everyone was super nice, and tried to strike up conversation with one of our Uber drivers who was a black guy. Mm-hmm. I was like, "Oh, is there any good weed around here?" He's just like, "I don't smoke weed." I was like, "Fuck, I just profiled the shit out of it."
But I mean, you're an Uber driver. Like whether you're black or white or whatever, like if you're an Uber driver, you should probably know. You should probably know like. You have somebody to hook them up.
It's like when you go to an Airbnb and like the host, if they're a good host, they'll have like a brochure, like a binder that tells you like the cool spots in the area. Like, oh, go to this diner. Yes. There's a really nice store here. Uber drivers are just mobile. They're mobile Airbnbs. So they got to have a little dude. Okay, this is interesting. There's one one Uber we went into. This one Uber driver. It was like this guy, this Indian guy, huge Indian population in Chicago, which I had no idea.
Okay.
It's more than any other Asian culture there.
Huh.
So he's there, and he's young. I mean, his late 20s. He's like, "Oh, what do you do?" But we get in the back seat, and there's a whiteboard that's strapped to his back seat or to his seat, like it's the passenger seat, and it's facing us. And there's handwriting on it in Sharpie or marker. And it just says, it's like this long thing about like, once you, I'm paraphrasing completely, but it's like once you stop drinking is when life changes for you. Like once you realize you don't need you can let go of those vices. It was just like this kind of like felt pretty preachy.
It was okay.
It felt pretty preachy because it was just a wild thing to just see that.
It was a little bit of like a sermon.
A bit of a sermon, right? Like this unspoken sermon that he just planted right in, like it's a big whiteboard just right in front of you. It was right in front of Mel's face. So you can't help but just stare at it the whole time you're in there. And we were just kind of like looking at each other like, what's going on there? And then he was like, what do you guys do? I always get sussed out when someone immediately asks me what you do.
What do you answer?
I just say I do video production and I work in tech. And then if they inquire further, then I'll go into more detail. But I usually leave it at that. But then, and I was like, so what are you done driving for the day? Are you done working? He's like, well, after this, I have to teach a yoga class. I'm leading a yoga class. I was like, it's making sense. Basically, this guy was just an LA native somehow living in Chicago.
That's fair. Yeah, that's. I mean, the preachiness part is a little surprising.
True.
Otherwise, that checks out. Yeah.
And I was telling Mel this, and she was like on the fence about whether or not she agreed with me. But I feel like a lot of the time, not all the time, but sometimes when people do stuff like that, they're really just trying to convince themselves.
Yeah, that's kind of the classic, projection thing, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it just felt like why do you need to tell me this? Like, you know what I mean?
Maybe,
like, are you trying to?
It's helping him to write it out every day.
Yeah, maybe it could be one of those things where it's like, maybe that's why like a lot of super religious people kind of like push it on to others because in a way it makes them feel like they're holding themselves accountable. Like, well, now I can't sin because I just told everybody else not to sin. So I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't practice what I preach.
Yeah.
But if I don't preach anything, then there's no rules for me to follow. I can technically do whatever. I mean, I don't. It's probably more subconscious.
If I were an Uber driver, I would just hang like a little sign that says "Eat, Pray, Love," and just be like, "My job here is done. I've done all the proselytizing I need to."
But see, the opposite. So I didn't like that. I wasn't a fan of that. But I am also not a fan of the opposite of that, which is like a coexist sticker.
Yeah.
Because that's also lame. That also sucks. Because I'm like, if you're gonna put that on there, then why even have a sticker at all?
Yeah. No, I mean, or you could always just go with the classic. What is it? Do as thou wilt.
Do as thou wilt. Once you start talking like Shakespeare, I'm out. You know.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm like, or any quote. Any quote is lame. Don't ever
quote me, bro.
Don't ever quote anything to anyone. I don't know why it bothers me so much.
I don't know. I just ran across this quote today that for some reason a lot of people found very profound, which was something along the lines of when you go through life pretending to be insane, eventually you'll run into somebody who's pretending to be sane.
Interesting. So is that what
like when you go through life acting crazy, like you're hard or whatever?
Oh, right.
Eventually you'll run into somebody who's a psychopath who's pretending to be sane.
Yeah. Reverse Uno code.
Yeah.
That's funny. I like that.
So I mean, not all. I guess not all quotes are bad.
True. Okay. But I think it's
but when when they get directed at you
yeah, exactly,
and you're feeling like I'm feeling targeted here
because that quote is kind of, it's not really it doesn't feel judgy. It doesn't feel like that one felt judgy,
right?
You know what I mean? Like suddenly I feel like I'm in church.
Exactly.
Like and then like I recognize I could identify myself feeling like getting a little insecure about. Like just like that he is now judging me. Like I feel like this is clearly the type of guy that's going to judge me because I refrained from saying it, but I was hungover as shit. and then like because he's like, oh, you guys having a good day? I was like, it was like 4 p.m. I was like, we just started. We're just now doing the thing,
getting breakfast,
and I just for some reason I just refrained from saying we're wasted, obliterated right before I read that sign. That would have been so funny.
So stuff like that has a chilling effect on conversation.
I think it does for me.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Well, it just feels like, this is not a safe space.
I am also not a fan of preachy quotes.
Yeah, but he was fairly normal outside of that. What else was going on in Chicago? Oh, we went to We went to a museum.
Wait, let me guess.
What?
A museum of... No, it's just gross stuff. Go ahead.
Actually, yeah, it is gross stuff. Well, we did 2 museums. One was like the go-to, like the Art Institute that's mega famous.
Right.
Very cool. It's like, oh, Van Gogh. I feel like a contributing member. I feel like a normal member of society. That's where you go to pretend like you're saying.
Right.
And that was fun. But then we also went to the Museum of Medieval Torture.
That's so funny. I was...
What were you going to say?
I was going to say something along those lines.
Okay, yeah.
I was like going to be like a torture museum or something.
Yeah, and on the surface, it's like, oh, that sounds interesting, We even had an episode where we went over a bunch of, historical torture methods and stuff.
So how was the museum?
90% of them were represented at the museum, but what we didn't expect was the elaborate and highly detailed and gory recreations with human,
like waxworks.
With waxworks.
Okay.
And like you can look it up. They allow you to take pictures and post pictures online.
Okay.
You can look it up. Medieval Torture Museum in Chicago. It was the most intense thing.
So it's very graphic.
Extremely graphic, and they're all like life size human figures. And like just the terror, like the look of terror on their faces as like
the artist really nailed it.
Their like entrails are hanging out.
Yeah,
and it's all about.
That sounds terrifying.
The ambiance is like it's dark and dim in there, and they have creepy music.
Do they have like little water dripping in the corners just for atmosphere?
It was probably the soundtrack was creepy. It was super creepy. Mel was like kind of freaked out. I thought she was going to bail. But I know that my girlfriend's Asian enough to get her money's worth. I was like, there could have been a dude with a real knife. You would have been like, I'm milking this for all it's worth. I paid $25 for this. Mm-hmm. It's worth my life.
Getting $25 worth of terror out of it.
Yeah. And she did. We both did. It was crazy.
What's interesting is I've read that there's a fair amount of the medieval whatever torture equipment stuff that's actually sort of retconned, like it was kind of invented or thought up later on, and then like sort of people were like, oh yeah, this is the thing from back then.
Yeah, right. Yeah, 100%.
Did the museum touch on that aspect at all?
Wait, hold on, repeat the question. I believe
so I think there's this thing called like the Pair of Anguish. It's basically like
yes, you're talking about that.
It's the super expanding butt plug of anal destruction.
Yeah. They had that there. It was a photo of it though.
Right.
They didn't have the actual.
So that's one that specifically I've seen people call out and be like, "Oh yeah, that was something that somebody came up with in like 1790s or whatever." But then they said it was from like medieval times.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's like I've seen that accusation leveled at various. Medieval torture stuff is like, oh, This is actually much more contemporary, but then somebody thought it would be cool to say it was from medieval times.
Yeah. I think that was the theme of the place, right? So I'm sure that it was medieval specifically. So I'm sure just to amp things up. I mean, it doesn't really strike me.
Now,
as...
did that particular that one just had a photo? They didn't have any illustration of it.
No,
that's probably for the best.
Yeah, that would have been crazy if they had the full blown model. With the dude just like, oh, I mean, dude, they had a life size model of the Blood Eagle.
Oh wow,
it was insane. They're like, yeah, Scandinavian torture method, and like it's just like a guy that's like hanging like this, and you just see his back like flayed open with his rib cage and lungs just out.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's insane. And it's like an interactive museum. So there's a sign that says turn. He's on a lazy Susan. So you turn him around, you just see a guy go, ah! You just see his like paralyzed in absolute horror look on his face. It is the stuff of nightmares. It is crazy. And like just with the atmosphere and everything, you're just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It was a lot. It was very overwhelming.
Blood Eagle is pretty intense, man.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And that wasn't even the crazy. Like there was equally crazy stuff everywhere.
Okay.
And it was interactive,
so
right?
You got your money's worth.
Yeah, I mean they had the burning bowl. The bronze bowl?
Yeah.
Where they put the coals underneath and you're in a metal bowl. So like they had the door to the bowl. It's like, open me. And you just open it and there's just a guy burned alive inside. He's like, it's like, this is fun. This is really, I can't believe we're gonna eat right after. We should go eat after this.
Yeah, so what did you go eat after that?
Hot dogs.
Korean barbecue?
Oh, man. What did we eat after that? I think we ate before. I'm not sure which one was better, before or after. But, yeah, we were pretty topped off. We started looking up reviews afterwards because like this has to be a polarizing thing. So we looked at reviews and one of them was like 1 star that someone had puked, and that like the place didn't clean it up, and so the person just stepped in someone's puke and then demanded a refund and was denied. It was just like, fuck this place, it's disgusting.
I don't know if I was at a place and I stepped in puke and I was not given any compensation, then I might be upset.
Yeah, if they didn't, it's just been chilling there like a puddle of puke for an hour.
Yeah,
you're like, come on, really? This is not like, oh, it's part of the fun. It's part of the experience.
Like Disneyland, they can handle a pile of puke in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, right. I know. And like sure enough, you walk in and you're greeted by like the host. He's at this little kiosk thing, and he's just like maybe 23 years old. It's just like this scrawny white kid with long blonde hair, and he's got just the craziest face piercings, like 3 in his nose, a few over his lip, one on the chin. Just I was like, did the tour already start? This looks like a torture method right here.
So basically somebody who 15 years ago you would have run into at Borders.
Yeah. It was definitely a Borders kid. He was from the past. He was from the medieval ages.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of masochism embraced by the staff there.
Yeah. It was a freak show. Every part about it was a freak show. They had one where it's like a seesaw, but on one end of the seesaw is like someone tied upside down, and then you lower them into like a bucket of water, like a big
that's a witch dunking thing or something. It was a witch dunking thing,
so it was like some blonde lady.
Yeah, that's everybody knows that's how you dunk witches.
And then it's like, pull me. It's like, oh, this is so. Oh, so this is what it must have been like. This is fun.
I'm kind of surprised it wasn't like a teeter-totter thing where it's just like the seat is hollow and then there's just like a big stake underneath it where every time you tilt it
yeah, it just goes straight into them.
Yeah,
they did have like the bed of nails where there's a dummy on the bed of nails, and then there's another like basically a wooden door directly layered above them like a sandwich, and you can lower the strings with more nails on it, so just like it just presses into them or whatever.
So nail sandwich,
so you could control that.
Okay,
which was cool. And we right before we left, we had to go to the bathroom, so there's like a little hallway. Once you get in the hallway, it's like it's a normal hallway. It's like a normal building hallway. You're like, yeah. Oh, it's like it was like a siren. It's bright lights, and
then you go in the bathroom. It's torture themed again.
You're like, God, fuck.
This urinal better not cut my dick off.
There's just like posters of death everywhere in the bathroom. I'm just like, oh my God. And I was like the only one in the bathroom. I'm just like, if someone like walks in right now, I'm going to freak out. Like it was just, the only thing saving me was that they had like some happy medieval music. Like,
so like Renaissance Fair?
Ren Fair. I was like, okay, they're that aware. At least they're that self-aware enough to like, let's not fuck with people shitting. They already shit themselves in there. They're already puking in the fucking place.
Keep the torture in the torture zone.
Yeah.
The bathroom should be safe.
Yeah. How much human feces and puke do you want in this place? What a wild experience that was.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is Chicago the spot that has the big shiny bean?
Yes. Yeah. We went to the bean. Mel kept calling it the peanut.
Why?
She just got confused.
Okay.
Yeah. I think English is her third language.
I mean, technically, I guess peanuts are a type of legume, so...
So point for her.
I guess.
I'll be damned. No, she eventually got it. And then I kept like, we were like under the bean. I was like, we're in the bean. And then she's like, we're in the bean. And I was like, flick the bean. I kept saying flick the bean. And she had no idea what that meant. So she just kept repeating it. And I was like, shut up. Stop. What are you doing? God.
How did she not know that?
She had no clue. She just kept saying, "Flick the." She thought I was saying "flip the bean," but when she was repeating it, I mean, any bystander would have just heard "flick the bean."
That's what you're gonna hear.
So it was just as good.
Yeah.
She might as well have been saying it.
Some good trolling right there.
So it was educational. It was, Chicago's rich with history and lessons. We heard about, there were some stories told on the architecture tour while we were sailing down the river, and one of them was about the Chicago fire, which happened, back in the day, where just the whole city went up in flames, and everyone was like, well, this is fine. We'll just jump in the river where it's safe. It's water. Yeah. But there was so much agriculture and so many pig slaughters and stuff, cow slaughters, that they would just dump all the entrails and shit into the river.
So the river was just like a river of blood.
Just river of oil.
And it became flammable.
Yeah. Real flammable. So people are swimming. They're like, we're fine. We're going to be okay. Just swim out. And then just the river ignited just all the way down.
You got to love it when a river catches fire. That's always it's like a watershed moment in a city's history when the river catches fire, because everybody, you can't ignore that.
I mean, it does seem
like the river's on fucking fire.
That's some medieval shit. You're just expecting a dragon to fly over the city any second. When that happens, you're like, all right, end of the apocalypse. Here we go. We're going to Mordor. But yeah, they said that there was so much oil, even in the winter when the river would freeze and stuff, you could just there would be a layer of lard across the entire river. And hard times, some people would take a mug and just scoop it out and use it for cooking.
Yeah. I'm surprised it was just going to waste like that. People wouldn't harvest it and make candles or soap or whatever out of it.
I'm sure some people did, but it was really just it was before modern plumbing and all that. So just everything, and human shit and piss, all that stuff just went in the river.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you don't necessarily want to make a candle that's got lard and
shit.
Yeah, turds in it. So.
But they cleaned up the river, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or something like that. They really cleaned it up, and then they created they built a river walk, at least on one side of the river. Mm-hmm. Which is really cool because you could just walk down the river. There's almost level with it, and there's a bunch of bars and pubs and eateries, just little kiosks and tours and stuff.
So they created a nice kind of touristy local and locals welcome sort of commerce zone for just nightlife stuff.
Yeah, because there's no more turds in the river, so we can. It's so actually it doesn't presentable reek? Now. Yeah, it doesn't reek. It's a nice walk now. Before it was no, you go here to kill yourself.
Have you read about some of the history of London, the problems they had with their Stinchy River?
No, it's. I think I've heard of, but I don't remember anyone. What's good?
They had a similar situation where all of their sewage was draining into the river. And they had it got to a tipping point where it was called, I think it was the Great Stench. It was summertime, and the air was stagnant, and the river was just
that's just their food
fetid. It was just rolling stench waves out across the entire city, and I think Parliament or one of the seats of power for the government was right nearby, and everybody in the government was just choking on stench. They were like, we got to do something about this.
Yeah.
That led to the creation of I think one of the first modern urban sewer systems.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah. Yeah, we're living in pretty good times these days.
Dude, plumbing and air conditioning.
Ugh. Oh my gosh! You don't even think about it.
The people who make that shit happen, the people who make our infrastructure happen,
right,
and our plumbing and our air conditioning work. Shout out, you guys.
Yeah,
you guys. I don't think you get enough appreciation.
What would they do? And it was just freakishly hot. You'd have to find a tree. You just go.
Well, depending on the temperature and the humidity. There gets to be a point where you have to stay in the shade and you can't move.
Right.
Or else you get heat stroke. So
that's insane.
I mean, depending on the temperature and the humidity, it can get, and it happens around the world now. They have what's called a wet bulb event, where it's so humid and it's so hot that you cannot cool your body off naturally. Even if you're just splashing water on yourself. Like you're sweating, whatever. It doesn't evaporate, doesn't cool you off at all.
Right.
So whatever temperature it is, you will become that temperature.
Yeah, right.
And so if it's 120 degrees,
you're going to die.
Yeah, exactly. You can't survive that.
Man.
So that's another reason why some places that have, like hot, maybe drier weather, you tend to see a cultural tradition of like having a midday kind of nap.
And then like I'll get so pissed like when my Nest app doesn't work, when I have to walk over.
So it sees motion and turns on the AC.
Yeah. So like I have to manually do it, or like at the thermostat instead of just from my couch 10 feet away.
So why does it work like that? Why isn't it just you set it to the temperature?
Well, I think it's just the app being finicky. Okay. I think it's more so that than the motion sensor thing. But we have it pretty good. Pretty good.
No, definitely. I agree.
And we have people to do yard work for us, which you probably didn't notice because it's late. But I got the front yard and backyard all fixed up.
Oh, I did notice the backyard is just like all the grass is just dead. It like
before today. Yeah. I mean, it was rough.
Did they mention? So I meant to bring this up. Did they mention that something happened to your cactus?
No, it did look a little droopy.
It was very droopy. Did you
see what happened?
I know, but it just at some point it was just like,
I think it just got heavy and probably
it just blip.
Maybe just a little bit of wind took it out.
It looked. I don't know. It just looked like it got melted and drooped over or something. But
someone killed Gumby.
That was a nice cactus. It was a survivor too.
Well, I'm sure I should have had him just cut off that limb hanging off, because I'm sure it looks fine without it.
It could probably still survive. I just thought it was funny that your cactus went all rubbery.
Yeah, he did. It's been hot, so I'm sure that contributes to it. But the guys were out here all day. It was like 3 or 4 guys, and they were here like 5 hours, 6 hours. They took out like 2 of the big trees, 2 or 3 big trees in the backyard.
The pine trees?
Not the pine trees, but the ones on the far right that are neighboring my neighbor here.
Okay.
Because 2 of them, I think the ones that they took out were completely dead. Like all the leaves were.
Oh yeah.
And so he was saying that they grow fungus once they die. And that that will transfer to the other trees that are alive and kill those too.
And if not that, they can just fall over and wreck shit.
That too. So it was a whole thing. They brought a truck, a big dump truck to load everything up on, and it was funny because the main guy, it's his business. After it was done, I was like, "All good?" He's like, "Yeah, you had a lot of stuff, a lot of work." I was like, "Yeah."
Did they take all the lemons?
No. I had him take Mike's grill though, the grill that Mike left here like over 2 years ago, 3 years now. That's
like 5 years,
just rusting in the backyard. I was like, if you guys want this grill, I mean, my stupid friend left it here. I'm just never going to use it. He's like, yeah, we'll take it. I'm like, hell yeah, which is huge.
That's a perk.
Huge life hack if you have like contractors,
people with hauling capacity.
Yes, and you need to get rid of shit that's like fairly usable. That's the time to do it, because it costs money just to get rid of shit.
Yeah, it does.
And it can get very expensive very quickly. So I was very happy to get rid of that, get rid of some trees. And then he said, I was like, yeah, clearly I've neglected the yards for quite some time. He's like, yeah, actually, while we were out in the front, must have been your neighbor, someone that's like a black Suburban, drove by and just saw us and gave us a big thumbs up. I was like, oh my God.
The thumbs up of judgment.
My whole neighborhood's probably throwing a party without me right now. Like, he finally did it. They're playing bingo. Like, didn't think 2024 was going to be the year it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't.
Oh man. You know what?
Crazy.
That reminds me. You should get your gutters checked out. You probably need to get those cleaned out.
Yeah. They were on the roof for some reason. I saw a ladder go up, and I was like, are they clearing out the gut? I don't know. I should check those too.
There was probably some junk and leaves from the trees up there.
Yeah. Well, it was on the opposite side of the house, though, so I'm wondering. I had to check the security cameras, but...
Oh, that's a nice freebie if they got your gutters, too, while they're at it.
That'd be cool. Yeah. They were pretty chill.
So it's clean cut back there?
Clean cut. It's just dirt. It's just dirt now, which hell of a lot better than a bunch of weeds.
You could go and get some cheap. Well, it's kind of late in the year. I was gonna say, Get some wildflower seeds.
Yeah.
And just kind of broadcast them out there and let some native sow some native plants out there.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I don't know. I mean, well, they're native, so they'll either survive or they won't, but they'll have a better chance of surviving than plumeria or something.
He was telling me he had some plants too if I was interested. He's just like, I got a pretty good palm tree. He's like, not the tall ones, just like for the front yard, because he removed the 2 small palm trees that were right here in the front that were always leaned over.
The mangled ones, yeah.
The mangled ones that were just literally lying dead on the floor.
Yeah.
In the dirt. So he removed those. He's like, yeah, if you want to put something there, I've got like a nice short, like one of the stubby wide
Put some cacti in there, man. Put some cholla in there.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Cacti. That would be nice. So yeah, got that taken care of. Perfect timing because I've got like 2 people from a big company coming on Thursday.
Oh.
Their office is pretty local, but one of the guys who works up north is coming down, and they want to meet just to talk biz or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, if there's any kind of chance of me working with this company, I have to at least present the yard like someone lives here.
Dude, make a nice big pitcher of iced tea and sit down on the back porch. Like, when was the last time you used that table back there?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Yeah, I don't.
It'll probably be too hot for that.
There. Probably.
But you do never go in the backyard.
I don't. Bugs. That's my main thing.
I don't blame you.
That's my main thing. I am crack cocaine for mosquitoes for some reason. They will not leave me alone. They see me and they start drooling like.
Do you have any insect repellent? Because there's a can that's just like at my height, not your height, so I'll get it down for you.
No, just the stuff for the house, but I don't want to spray that on me.
Yeah, I have some nice bug repellent.
Nice.
So if you do have to go outside, then you can repel bugs effectively.
That's cool. All right. Yeah.
But I'm happy. I was looking out there and I was like, yeah, this isn't really looking like amber waves of grain anymore. It's looking like, brown waves of
It's been that way
crap.
for a long time. It's been that way for a long time, so I'm glad I cleared it out.
It was pretty lush over the springtime and
yeah, that's true.
Into summer.
That's true. The summer made a number of it, just destroyed it.
I don't have
Let's see what else.
That much excitement going on. I did put in some vacation time.
Yeah.
I put in some vacation time specifically
after your trip, your work trip.
That's still in limbo. It hasn't gotten locked down yet. But I saw that Stalker 2 is being released, and I literally I put in PTO, and like there's a field that when you request paid time off, there's like a field for HR, and you can be like, I want to spend time with family or whatever. And you can leave it blank too.
Yeah, sure.
But I specifically put in there gaming.
That's awesome.
So
I love the fact that you wanted them to know. You could have just left it blank. You're like, no.
Taking a couple days off to play this because I'm excited.
They will know. I love that for you. That's amazing. Oh man, that is coming up, huh?
It is. Man, this year has been going fast, dude.
It's crazy.
And this is the episode with the special number.
Oh my gosh! How did I forget? Episode 69, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wish
you'd think something special would happen, but
that's why the show is called Super Special, because every episode's special. No,
that's true.
That's terrible.
That's true.
I'll take that back. I'm cutting that. But it is episode 69. It's legendary. I think it's a good episode. I think this is a good. Yeah,
I'm feeling it.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff so far. And you're wearing I just realized you're wearing the dill pit. I've been just staring at them while I've been talking, just like mindlessly, not even. You're wearing the socks,
dude. These are good socks.
My mom will be thrilled that you're wearing the socks that she got us. Excellent. They actually look pretty good.
I like them, and I like you can read.
Yeah.
As I'm sitting, like this.
Right. I think
kind of a big deal.
She said that's why she got them, because they have text on the bottom, and we always show our feet. We always bare our soul on the show. I like to say we always bare our souls. So good thinking, Mom. She's
clever. These are good socks. I'm happy with them.
Excellent. Yeah, I've been purposely not showing my feet because they are
shameful.
Socks are
shameful in the extreme, sir.
They are holier.
How did you manage to
holier than thou?
Okay, here's the thing. You should have worn through the gray part on the heel.
Well, I guess I wear them a little higher. They kind of ride a little high.
I guess.
Right? Because, I mean, it doesn't look like I'm wearing them particularly
I guess,
high.
yeah, most socks I would have expected you to wear it through the gray part, but the way that is cut, I see it.
They're also so old that they were probably like this initially, and then once I stretched the shit out of them, the heel kind of went up an inch or two.
Man, you need somebody to custom make socks that have like some Kevlar in the bottom. Yeah, for wear resistance, for extreme durability.
Yeah. I think what would help is if I actually just wore like sandals or the slippers, like the soft slippers in the house.
Yeah.
Because I don't like walking barefoot in the house. I think part of it is because it just feels cleaner when I have socks on.
Okay.
Especially because like the cats drag litter everywhere.
Yeah.
And I obviously vacuum, but not like every day. So it's just like feeling little bits of sand.
You need
or
Uggs,
whatever.
Man. Remember we were supposed to get Uggs?
Oh, geez.
You need some house Uggs.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to be super tall.
That's true. They have Ugg slippers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They do. Mom, if you're watching, you can be our... My mom is single-handedly sponsoring the show.
In many ways, yeah.
Dear Mama Santa, Mrs. Claus.
What I did was I actually did some DIY sort of Uggs.
Yeah.
Because I had gotten these really thick wool socks, like really nice and dense thick wool socks, but they're really big. Mm-hmm. So I would end up wearing like regular socks, and then I would put these over them, like when it was cold.
Yeah.
And then I got to the point where I was like, I'm gonna do a thing. So I got Flex Seal, like they make sprayable Flex Seal.
Yeah.
And I sprayed that all over like the bottoms of the soles.
Okay.
And then sort of made like this sort of plasticized area on the socks. And I did that with both of them.
Yeah.
And then I let them cure.
Sure.
And now they're like slipper socks.
How did you? What kind of plastic material did you use? Like
it's
like did you cut something to size?
No. It's just I sprayed it directly on the socks.
Oh, I see.
So I let it soak into the like I encouraged it to soak into the fabric.
Okay.
And saturate. If the fabric, the weave is pretty thick, so it didn't soak all the way through. Right. So like the interior of the sock is all still like nice and
so
comfy.
You just created
wool.
Like a firm layer on the bottom where you could walk around.
And it's not like waterproof or anything, but it's nice and grippy, and it obviously increases the durability of them.
Do you take them outside? Like
I have a few times.
Get the mail or something like that.
They're not super well suited for that because, like, if you walk on a little rock, it still hurts.
Sure.
Like a little pebble or whatever, it'll come through, and you're like, ow, that hurts. Yeah, it's like stepping on gravel still hurts, right?
Right. Sure.
But for walking around the house, especially when it's cold, they're nice, they're grippy, and
that's nice.
It was these really nice, like high-end socks that I got for some reason because they were super cheap.
Right.
And then I never wore them because, like, how often do you wear really thick, super high-density wool socks?
Yeah, right.
And then I was like, I want to make something useful out of them, and I've been very happy with what I chose to do.
I thought what you were going to say was that you also cut off like the toe part, and that like so that you would almost like turn them into woolly sandals.
Oh no.
Okay.
They're just like slipper socks.
Gotcha.
They're like my special grippy slipper socks that my family is mildly embarrassed of.
Like, don't come around here with those. Shame.
But you could. They're still like I can machine wash them, which is nice. Like
that's pretty cool.
You know, I walked around outside a bit, and I was like, these aren't the best, but they got dirty, so I washed them, and yeah.
That Flex tape, that Flex Seal's a modern marvel.
I had that idea years ago, and I finally got around to it, and I've been happy with the outcome.
Excellent. That's pretty. Yeah. I've never seen you wear them. Maybe in the winter, I'll see you. I'll see if they make an appearance.
I will bring them, and I will show
wear them on the
Mel the superior shuffling mechanism. I mean, they're not the best for shuffling because they're kind of grippy.
Yeah, true.
But I might break them out one of these days when it gets a little chilly.
I don't do the grip so much indoors. I kind of like it.
You like the slip.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was born with like extra wide feet. Like
same.
I have like duck feet or something. You know. I just have very flat, wide feet.
We wear like double E width shoes.
It's not like that bad where I need custom or special sizes or whatever, but I just have a slightly wider than average foot, and I think that helps me stabilize. I'm also short, so it's like lower center of gravity.
Yeah,
I'm just built. I'm just built
for stability.
Yeah.
Got built-in stability
I'm
control.
like a frog.
But okay, so I see the wear on your socks, and it makes me think that your feet are slipping around inside of your shoes, causing that wear, but it's actually you shuffling around indoors with the socks on that's wearing them.
Yeah, I wouldn't say shuffling. That would be an insult to Mel, who's the queen of shuffling.
She is.
But
do you ever power slide?
If I've been drinking.
Okay.
If I've had a few drinks,
or you're like heading to the bathroom, you're like, I gotta take this corner.
Yeah, right. Let me shave off a few seconds on this turn.
Yeah,
I'm like the Nuremberg. Yeah, dude. I'm the Sting. I've become the Stig. Oh man, yeah. I go full Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
risky business.
Kevlar or some kind of aramid, maybe Dyneema socks.
I'm sure there's something out there for someone like me, for a guy like me.
Episode 69.
Thanks for 69, baby.
Thanks for watching all of the other 68 episodes. If you did,
dear God, man, I feel like we just did 50 not too long ago, and then like next thing you know, it's gonna be 100.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Where do we go from there?
Probably 200.
Can we start like what's the word? When a show has like so many seasons, they start to syndicate. Can we start syndicating episodes?
At some point, we're gonna get hit up by like the Chinese YouTube. Be like, would you like to syndicate, or like get offered like, would you like to translate your episodes in Spanish and make double revenue? So then we make $12 instead of $6.
Dude, AI translation, like we could
do it now.
So how does that work? Like if you have podcast and it's in English, can you re-upload it with dubs for another language and market it in that region?
Yeah, a lot of channels do that. A lot of bigger channels, like Mr. Beast has a Spanish channel.
Ah, okay.
But he's got money and stuff, so he has a team that translates it or dubs it over. I think it's a whole thing.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm sure like lots of channels do it. Just AI.
I kind of like the idea of like poorly done, like AI done dubs.
There's a certain charm to it.
Because I feel like it can only make things funnier.
Yeah, 100%. Took me half my life to realize Dragon Ball Z is not a comedy. I was like, it just sounds like two guys taking a shit. It sounds so much cooler when it's just Japanese guys. It's like, it's like they're in the zone. When it's a dub, it's crazy. It sounds so wild. Part of the fun.
I wish I had watched more Dragon Ball Z as a kid. But I was
deprived. You didn't watch anything, so
yeah.
Do you think
except Disney movies?
What's the biggest? Disney movies.
Yeah, Disney movies, and then my two big like core building blocks of my interests were the original Star Wars trilogy on VHS and Back to the Future on VHS.
Yeah,
and that's I credit that as like, getting me interested in science fiction.
It's funny that your parents let you, of all the things, let you watch Disney movies. They're like, why does he even keep watching that one scene from The Little Mermaid? He really likes that one scene. He just rewinds it every time it's over.
Actually, one movie that I'm surprised now that I think about it, although I was a bit older when I saw it, was The Fifth Element.
Yeah.
That was I rewound certain parts of the movie and rewatched them.
I was a young man too at one point.
They really made her perfect.
I was a young boy like yourself one back in the day. Oh man, yeah.
But overall, amazing movie.
Whew. So good.
Regardless of horny levels,
yes,
it's an amazing movie.
Yeah, I still would have watched it.
I actually just rewatched the Back to the Future trilogy recently.
The whole trilogy?
Yeah,
just back to back.
Not
spread
per
out
se.
A little bit, but
yeah,
nice.
And I was like, you know what, this still holds up pretty well.
I don't think I think I've seen, probably have seen 2 and 3, but I don't remember them at all. I don't remember them at all. I know one pretty well, but
I really wish I could find the original Star Wars trilogy on VHS. I want to watch it on VHS.
Yeah.
Have you seen the trend of people like getting into high-end CRT screens?
No.
It's a whole thing.
High-end CRTs.
Like vintage,
okay.
like the really like the highest performance vintage CRT screens.
That's kind of sick.
Going for mad money.
That's kind of sick.
And
not that part,
because the way that a CRT display works is it's nice. It's nice to look at. Like it's easy on the eyes. Like when you've been used to, I mean, OLEDs are really good, but when you've been used to, LCDs for a long time, it's kind of refreshing to go back to CRT.
Yeah. It's kind of like it's a vibe.
It is
right?
a vibe.
It's a total vibe. Yeah. It's like you could have like the $50,000 audiophile speakers or whatever, like my $3,000 headphones, but there's something special and classic about a vinyl player.
Yeah.
Or just, like an old school
playing an old video game on a CRT.
Yeah, like the way that it was kind of it's very nostalgic as well.
Yes.
I think there has been this sort of resurgence of like, well, not a resurgence, it's always been a trend of like retro, like retro comes back. It's just that has finally become retro now.
Yeah.
Back then it was normal, and like that's our retro. Right. It's like the 80s, 90s, which we grew up on CRTs. So there's something that's just so innocent and like it's like simpler times. It kind of brings you back to that simple, period of life when before social media, before like I think, and you're also young, so it's just carefree. You're just having fun.
Yeah.
And
blacks used to be black.
Wait, what?
I'm talking about the blacks on the screen.
Oh, okay. I was like,
you were like, wait, how do I interpret this?
That took the craziest left turn, or rather, the craziest right turn that I've ever heard.
Because it wasn't until OLEDs that were like, oh,
yes.
I
got you.
The contrast is so good.
Yeah,
but it turns out we had it originally, and we lost it.
Exactly. It was just now we have the clarity and the blacks.
Mm-hmm.
With blacks comes clarity. I'm just trying to reverse the damage you've done.
Yeah. No, I'm just sharding all over this podcast.
Episode 69, man. I knew it was going to come to this. I knew we weren't going to escape.
Oh man. Yeah. I actually kind of want to get like an old CRT. I miss my old ViewSonic, like flat screen ViewSonic.
Yeah.
That thing was nice.
Oof. Man.
I gave it to a friend because I was like, oh, I upgraded. I got a flat screen now.
It was a flat screen CRT?
Yeah.
And I'm sure even those were still pretty
Well,
it
was flat in that the screen itself didn't have a little bubble
the
curve to it.
Gotcha.
It was actually a flat
That's right.
CRT screen.
That's right. Yeah.
That was like pretty high end.
My grandparents used to have one in their bedroom when I was younger. And I remember like when no one was around, I would go into their room and change it to like one of the scrambled channels that had like HBO porn on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I think I saw a tit. I'm pretty sure that was half a tit. And just like change the channel. Like someone would come upstairs like, oh fuck. Just like I was a growing boy. I was a teenage boy. We were all there.
I actually I've heard about this. I never had the experience of trying to look at scrambled channels and like figure out if there was titties or something.
I mean, it was just something that I stumbled upon as a teen, as a young boy.
Did you ever find porno mags in the woods?
No. Where were the woods? I never had any woods.
We were in suburbia, so we didn't really have woods. But apparently that's like a keystone,
right?
Like cultural identity thing for our generation is finding porno mags in the woods.
There's Theo Vaughn, who's a comedian. He said that when he was young, there was a kid in his school that would he was really good at he carved a pair of tits on a tree, and then the boys would just go there and jerk off to the tree.
Quality tits on that tree. Yeah, I can work with this.
Again, something so classic about those simpler times where you couldn't just load up your phone and find anything you wanted at an instant. Those are the good old days, man.
Nostalgia. Nostalgia is such a weird drug.
It is.
Because if you really look back at those times, it wasn't all great.
Sure.
But it's so easy to take that nostalgia dose and just be like, it was all so good back then.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like any other drug. You're like, no, not every part of being on meth was great. Actually, most of it sucked, but for some reason I want to do it.
Have you ever seen those billboards? Oh man, there was some wild billboards from
back in the 90s.
I don't remember. It was like the last 10 years or so. Like there was some anti-meth billboards, especially in like I want to say the South.
Or would it like show their teeth or something?
No, it was like having sex with your cousin isn't normal, but on meth it is, or dad or something.
That's how good it is. You know, meth heads are like, but that's the point, though, right?
Like, I mean, you're not wrong.
They dropped the mic for me. Oh my goodness, dude.
Some if you search blah 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 isn't normal, but on meth it is billboards, you'll find those, and some of them are wild.
That's awesome. Wow, we flew through that hour. That is wild. Episode 69.
In the bag.
In the tea bag, baby. Guys, thank you for watching.
Seriously.
We will see you next week. Bye.